we're going to go deep about sex and life and how, the more sex you have, the more money you make, and how to really, really, really start blowing up your business by stepping out of your comfort zone. And if the word sex feels a little bit icky to you or uncomfortable, or you're even just like, oh, interesting, but it's like not fully aligned for you, then definitely listen in, because this episode is going to make a big difference in your life. So thank you so much, Tia. How are you?
I am so good. I've had a really good flow day. The day just flew by. I've made sales and I've got a lot done. It's just a really good day and I'm so happy to be here.
Amazing. So can you tell us a little bit about like how did you even get down this path? Because as you said earlier, like, being raised in Utah, such a conservative society, and now look at you like spreading your wings, shining your light. So yeah, tell us how it all evolved, and don't leave out details. I'm actually really, really curious myself. I'm like, how did you go from that to that? And obviously so much, like, I'm sure there's a lot of like resistance or awkward conversations with your family. So go deep.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I do marketing and confidence coaching is the main thing that I love to do. And then I have a festival clothing line and we do ugly Christmas sweaters. And so I actually, yeah, no, the best ugly Christmas sweaters. So that's what I focus on during the holidays right now.
I'm so good.
And yeah, it's so fun. They're naughty, they're nice, they're gonna make you laugh. So so much fun. But how I got started was marketing has been, I'm always very creative. I've always been very creative, into dance, into art, and I wanted to be in business. I wanted to make money and be successful. And so I was like, what's the side of business that I can show my creativity? And that's marketing. That's what I decided in college. I was like, okay, marketing. So I did that. And through working in corporate, I used to go to festivals and I always really loved to express myself since I was younger. Like literally, I was born with wearing bright clothing, wearing colors. I'm wearing cheetah right now, like very expressive with my exterior and my face and everything. I'm very expressive. And so through that, I think it was kind of a natural thing that I was just born with. But through that, like I wanted to help other people be happy and being themselves, because I was raised in a way that my mom accepted me. She always said, be yourself. She was okay with it. And like I always felt so much more free. And so every time I would be more free and be more myself, I would gravitate to people who really actually loved me and that like would just gravitate towards me, and that my life was just a lot happier. And I would always hear women be like, oh, I'm supposed to be this way and I'm supposed to be this way, and all these like judgments and shame. And literally I realized from a young age is that everybody's different and everybody likes different things. You can't please everybody, so you might as well just be you.
Yeah, what a powerful thing to learn at such a young age. So good.
So I just really had that inside me since young, that I wanted to help especially women be more themselves, own it. And that's kind of how I got into it, because I did business, then business coaching, and then just through my coaching, pretty much every client I've ever had has come out on the other side more confident in being themselves. And so, and then I've gotten more into sex and sexuality. And so that's what I love to talk about.
How did you start? Like, what was sort of the first move that you made into like sexuality, or was it like like that sounded weird, but I mean like into business, like tying the two together? Because not many people make that link. They're kind of like, okay, cool. So there's my home life where I have sex, and then there's business. Like, to really integrate them. Like, I feel like it's becoming a much bigger thing now, but you really, really took a stand with your business name and actually like really integrated it. So where, like, was it an idea you were having one day, or you were having sex and you're like, hey, I'm going to just like tie this into my business? Like, talk us through that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So when I first started, I definitely didn't do that. I had all the same thoughts, but I escalated my growth so quickly because I kept hiring coaches. So I hired good coaches too, and one-on-one coaches and masterminds. So I invested a lot. And so it took me from this small, like, oh, like maybe I should do business for men and women and do everybody, to every really good coach and course that I hired. It kept saying, do the thing that you love, do the thing that you're scared of doing. That was a common theme. Do the thing that scares you the most. And the funny thing is, you guys, so I do pole fitness. I've been doing it for 6 years. I started doing it in Utah, and it really helps my confidence and my strength. I'm strong and I'm fit, and also feminine energy too. So there's a lot of shame around that in Utah, but it's gotten a lot bigger. But anyways, how I kind of ventured in is I've always been into dance. I've always been kind of sexier. I liked tighter clothing as a child. I liked sexy clothing. I didn't know, but I liked fit dresses, skirts, always. And so I did have a lot of shame in my head. Like Utah, you're not supposed to be sexy dancing. And I was always told like I did a lot of sexy dancing. And so I just was that. I was just always kind of known for being sexy. And so, and I'm doing these pole dances and I'm sharing them online. And then when I started doing my business, I was scared to push them together. I was like, okay, so I do these pole dances and I twerk and I dance, but then I do business. And I'm like, I want it to integrate somehow. And one of my coaches, I was at like a VIP event, and I was like, she's like, what are you scared to share? And I was like, twerking. Like, I'm scared to share that I love to twerk and I'm like a pro at it. And she's like, so that's what you should share.
Yeah, 100%.
And I was just like, what? No. Yeah. So that's kind of where it originated, was her being like, that's what you need to share. That's you. She's like, she was pretty intuitive too. And she was like, that is you. You have to do this. This is your missing link. You need to keep sharing this and sharing this. And so I kept playing with it and playing with it. And each time I would have success. Each time I shared a little bit more. Each time I owned it. Each time I shared my sexuality, my dancing, my videos, people were just gravitating. So it was just like, okay, I'm doing the weird thing that I just didn't believe was a thing. And then I would go from, smaller clients, little courses, to this even led to my first 10K client from sharing and owning my sexuality online.
I love that. I love it so much. I think it's like the one thing that we, like, most people on this planet are so terrified to do. It's like, we all know who we are. And why do we have this fucking belief that, well, my home life needs to be different from my work life, and I'm just going to be a little, or I'll be promiscuous in the bedroom, but then when I leave the bedroom, I go back to being boring. Like, that's right. Yeah. Example, but it's so normal. Like, people are like, oh, like, I've been a bit naughty. Now I'm going to be like, oh, back to you, Sandra. Like, poker face. Like, that didn't just happen. No, that's not me. No, that's a part of me I want to repress and not come out until we go back into the bedroom again. And oh my gosh, that's just like, that's everything. It's like, be all that you are in every moment, but you're not embodying all that you are if you are constantly a chameleon, changing into different spaces when you're walking into different spaces. And like, I know that was something I really had to embody with my children too, because I was like, fuck, I'm so boring. And then when my playful side came out more and more, I was like, now I joke with them. I'm like, they're humans too. Like, why? I don't have to be in this like society program mom mode all the time, like bossing them around. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I get to joke with them. Like,
yeah. And I love that. And sex is just such a healing thing. It really is. It's just made me grow so much, having to grow sexually. Kind of, I think what I've noticed with my clients is when they get rid of all that shame around all those judgments and those fears and who they really are. And sex is a big part of who we are. We're very feminine sexual beings. And so when we clear that, when we clear who we are, then we're able to show up and be ourselves. And literally, when you're being yourself, you just feel more confident and more free.
And
And
let's
it just affects you.
yeah, oh my God. Yeah, 100%. There is like, yeah, and I think like even things like, posting online about it, like you will trigger a lot of people, but there is also so much freedom to say what you want, and what someone else thinks of you is none of your business. And if you like, I'm always like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. If someone says something mean, it's because they're hurting inside and they're triggered and they're just projecting. But that's something that no one ever teaches us at school. So we all get offended. We're like, oh my gosh, how could they say that? And it's like, it's got nothing to do with you. Like nothing. Yep. But you were talking about like this clearing process, and I want to talk a bit about that. Are you finding with a lot of your clients with the clearing, do you find it's more around the shame around it, or is it becoming more like, and I guess with just shame, everything would open up. Like you wouldn't feel so like, I feel like you're feeling shame around sex and sexuality. You'd probably be feeling shame in the bedroom as well with your partner, and you wouldn't be comfortable to like really express what you need to and go, well, this feels good for me and this doesn't feel good for me, and don't fucking ever do that again. Like it's just about like, but owning it. So what do you find like the biggest thing around it is it the shame or?
Yeah, so I actually do a course for this. It's actually called How to Become a Sex Goddess. And a big part is the shame and the judgment. The shame and judgment go hand in hand. They're friends. Shame, it's mostly shame. And it's just ingrained in us from a very young age. At a very young age, you weren't supposed to do this. You weren't supposed to do this. You weren't supposed to touch yourself. You're not supposed to do this. And as children, we're sponges. We soak it up. And so we start feeling all these things if we have these natural tendencies or things to do, which it keeps us safe. Shame does keep us safe, keeps us from getting hurt. But as you become an adult, we have to clear those layers of shame, and it literally will blossom you up. Like this course, every single woman who's gone through it, I've watched them that did the work. I've watched them become more confident, and the ones that did own a business, I've literally watched them start sharing their personality, sharing their pretty sides, sharing like literally transformed. They're smiling, they're themselves, and then they're making more money and they're doing courses and they're selling. And one of mine's a real estate agent, and she's making more money and she's confident and she's sharing pictures, and she just like blossomed. She sent me some pictures today that I told her to do a quick photo shoot, and I'm just like, I want to copy you. This looks fabulous. I'm like, you have completely transformed.
I love that. Yeah. And I think when you do start, and the universe will always nudge you. Like I was nudged, like I was like, oh my gosh, like I think it was a few years ago and I was listening to a podcast around it and I was like, oh, that's disgusting. And then I realized it was like so much societal conditioning. And then as I really started learning more about it and diving into it and hearing a lot of the people that I love speak a lot about it, it was like, there are just so many benefits to sex. Like, your skin's glowing, you're on fire. Like there's just so many benefits to it. And it's so taboo because of what, like stupid, things that our parents have said, or societal conditioning, or how we must conform to be a certain way so that we make everyone else happy. And it's like, well, what about your fucking happiness? What makes you happy? And this is one thing that really pisses me off about business, because they're like, oh no, I do have to do that. I'm like, do you have to or do you want to? Because if you really want to do that, your business will explode. But if you have to do it, you're justifying it, and it's not going to make anyone happy because everyone can read your energy and pick up on it. And think about like after you've just had sex, you feel good. You're feeling good, like you've got like a kick in your step, you feel more intimate, you feel vulnerable, like whatever it is that comes out, like you feel like everything, and it's incredible because you're alive, and that's what this human experience is for, feeling absolutely everything. And so are there any things that you do or you recommend? And obviously I know that you're single right now, like, and for people listening that may be single and in relationships, like give us your top tips on, really using sexuality to boost your business and just start stepping into that energy, because it is a really powerful energy. And listening, and you don't have to be like, oh no, well now I have to go and find some guy to give head to like, to boost my business and make money. Like it's going to be like actually fun. And yeah, so talk us through how we can step into this.
So this is very important. I'm single, and at this point in my life, I'm not really wanting to be with like multiple partners or anything. That's not really what I'm looking for. So I actually, even though I have a lot of sexual energy, I'm not getting that energy in that way. I'm more of, which I allow myself to if I want to. But right now, in my point, I'm kind of keeping my sexual energies pretty safe. And so what I do is I prioritize my sex time. Okay. So pleasure time. And it doesn't have to have a goal. This is a key point. Literally, I'll just be honest, like literally it was last night and I was like, you know what? Like I'm feeling like I kind of have this sexual energy and I haven't like exerted it. And it could just be like you dancing in the shower and moving your hips in this sexual way. And you start feeling these feelings rise up in you. So just like feel it and like touching yourself or looking at yourself or touching yourself in a way just to please yourself, enjoy yourself, and prioritize at least 10 minutes. Like at least 10 minutes just to feel it and do it. And there's no goal. It's not a goal. It's just like, oh, here's my pleasure time. Or here's my dance time. Here's my sexual energy. Let me turn on a really good song and just move to the music. And usually if you allow yourself to do that, the energy starts kind of compiling and rising, and you usually do end up to a goal or enjoying yourself. And I've just noticed that when I push my pleasure to the side and I don't prioritize it, you start putting it to the side even more. You're like, oh, I don't need to do that. Oh, it doesn't really affect me. It doesn't really affect me. Oh, I don't even notice it. And then as soon as you start prioritizing it, you're like, whoa, like, I feel so magnetic. I feel so free. Like, literally this week, I've been prioritizing it more. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I have all these ideas and I'm feeling excited and I'm feeling magnetic. I literally went out to the bar last weekend and I was like a magnet. And I was just like, people were buying me drinks. One of them even just like bought me a drink and handed it to me and walked away. And I was just like,
and even talking on that, like so funny because I noticed like people like, oh, I was wearing that really, really nice dress that I like. And I'm like, it wasn't about the dress. It was about how you felt in the dress. It was about the fact that you felt like incredible, unstoppable. And that energy is so powerful.
yeah, it's the energy. It's how you're lighting up a room or you're presenting yourself or you're being confident. It's not what you're wearing. That's like literally what I want to put on my new sweats is like, it's not what you're wearing. Sexiness is a vibe.
Oh my God, you have to do that Christmas sweater. Put that on like a coffee mug on your Christmas sweater. That would be hilarious. So good though. That's such a powerful quote. Like people just get so fixated on it. It's got nothing to do with clothes. It's to do with like how you're embodying it and how you're feeling in it. And clothes will obviously link to like, if I wear this, I feel incredible. But like take that sweater off and you should still fucking feel incredible. You should literally be stripped down naked and just go, fuck, I'm amazing. Like this feels incredible. And it's so liberating.
Yes. And you guys, it's so true. That's why I hate when I was coming up with my name. So that question came up in my head when you were saying this. When I came up with my name, literally it wasn't a thing. Nobody was talking about sexiness. No one was talking about business. This was probably 1.5, 2 years ago. In my like coaching community, which is a lot of people, nobody was talking about sexiness. And my friends were like, why would you say Sexy Biz Babe? And then everybody voted. I did a voting, Level Up with Tia or Sexy Biz Babe. They voted for Level Up with Tia. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm doing this as like an empowerment, as like there was something in my brain, like I want to empower women to own their sexiness and own a business. And so even though it didn't win the votes, I was like, no, I'm doing Sexy Biz Babe and I'm going to make it a thing. and it's going to be a thing. And now a lot of my friends, they do dancing on their videos. They say sexiness in their posts. And I may not be like responsible, but I did help ignite that energy and that passion and the sexual energy, and it flows. People, it bounces. Like everything's a copy.
Yeah, people are like, why should I help that one person? I'm like, yeah, because when you help that one person, you help a village. You literally, like, they're a massive domino effect. They go home and they tell their partner, and their partner tells a friend, and then their friend tells another friend, and then your energy literally, like, yeah, it moves mountains. Like, you don't even realize the impact. Like, when you feel good, you can walk past someone and someone else and someone else and someone else. Like, the whole area can literally light up. And that's energy. It's fucking everything.
Yeah. And it does. It just impacts your whole group, and then that impacts their group, and then that impacts their group, and you can see the big domino effect. So it's really awesome. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I love that you didn't go with level up with Tia. Like, I was like, when you said it, I was like, oh, like, it just, I think just like, for me, I'm like, it's so like, it's just so stock standard. Like, there'd be a million level up, level up, level up. Everyone wants to level up. But yeah, sexy, like, especially, it's always about challenging the status quo. And I feel like for me, that's always been one of the biggest things that and sometimes I have to tell myself, like, don't say that you're causing resistance because that's what you'll attract. But it is like a lot of, like, I used the word come in a post recently. I think I said something like, oh, you were made from come, you were made from love, and you were made from God. There's always so many different ways to see it. So always keep your opportunities open. But it was funny, and let's be fair, I don't actually usually use the word come in my vocab. I really don't. It's not something that I use every single day, but I used it because I was watching Amy Schumer at the time, and she was saying, Oprah, come, Elon Musk, come, like, Eckhart Tolle, come, like, joking around, like, that's all like they are. And I was like, oh, this would be funny. It triggered so many people. I had so much hate. And I was like, well, so Amy Schumer can say it, but because I've been sort of put into a box of, you're a business person, you run these companies and you have to really keep it together because that's how a business presents. And oh, how dare you go outside the scope of how I want to see you. And I guess what we need to realize is when people get triggered, it's always their own beliefs, their own fears, their own stories, like, coming across at you, like, when it's got nothing to do with you. And on that note, that's why I never ask anyone for their opinion, because when you're asking for an opinion, it's like, hey, can I get all of your fears and all of your past stories and all of the shit that you're dealing with to tell me how I should deal with my life? So I'll actually give away my power to get all of your shitty life stories into a perspective that I can't make myself.
Yeah. And then you won't be attracting the right people and the right tribe and the right, yeah, it's so true. I learned that a long time ago. You don't ask your friends and family members for business tips, for help. You got to really learn your own intuition and your own guidance system. It's like the biggest thing for business. It's huge.
Oh my God, yes. It's like literally everything. Like, I literally run my business now with intuition only. Like, it's what do I want to do? Like, there's a few things in the 3D, a few strategies, like, not over the top ones. Like, we've got a few, like, we do funnels, and we've got emails and all that type of 3D stuff that you need to structure a business. And just our whole thing is just, how do we add value? How do we add consistent value? Let's do that. But apart from that tiny snippet of daily value every single day, delivering it to the world, we have the whole, 80 to 90% of who the fuck do I need to embody? What feels good? How do I need to turn up? And that fuels the 20%, because if I don't have that fucking intuitive, like, pull, I can't even fucking deliver that 20%, because what the fuck am I going to talk about? I'm going to go and look up, oh, Tony Robbins just talked about that. Maybe I should go copy it, instead of, what does my soul want to talk about today? What do I need to deliver to the world today? And when you get the fuck out of the way and you start just channeling and being all that you can be, that message just gets delivered so easily, so effortlessly, so beautifully. And the right people attract to you. Like, it's so rare. I'm sure it's rare for you too, to get a client that's not in alignment with you.
Yeah. Yeah. They're usually connected on so many different levels. And once they get to know me more, they're like, oh, there's like, similar triggers or experiences, or we're just connected usually.
And they're pulled to you because they know that you can help them. And vice
Mm-hmm.
versa. It's like you don't, yeah, we really, I don't think I've ever worked, and somewhat like we do 15-minute calls to make sure that we're a good fit before we even get further on. But it's so rare for someone
Yeah.
not, if they're out of alignment, they'll quickly cancel the call soon after they book. And I'm like, sweet, like don't have to waste my time with that. I'm like, thanks universe for always working for me and doing your thing.
Have you ever noticed, like maybe you started on the same wavelength and like connection, and then maybe during like not a session, but like a contract, that you started to level up and change, and then they kind of fell away, and you like kind of could see it, but you're like, has that ever happened to you? Like you've like leveled up, and then your clients, you're kind of wanting a next level, and then they either fall away or they have to level up, or no?
Yeah, 100%. No, definitely. And even like because I started Ladies Up because because we had Forever Events, and Forever Events is like, it's like one of the most popular event planning companies in Brisbane. So everyone knew us through that. And I was always, a lot of my friends that started a business had failed. Like they'd started, failed. And I was spending every day giving advice, like always giving advice and like counseling people, you should do this and you should do that. And I was working with a business coach at the time that was like, you need to find your purpose. And like, ironically, like it was so funny because she was so expensive. And when I hired her, like it was like, I could barely afford her. And every time I would go to like, and have the fear of not being able to pay her this month, and it would pull me in, and my soul would be like, no. Like it was the strongest pull. I was like, I need to cancel. And my soul was just like, like, you are not fucking canceling this woman. Like it was so strong. And thank God I didn't, because I always had the money to pay her. And in the process of being with her, she found out my purpose. And it was like how my spiritual awakening happened, and everything fucking blew up and fell apart to reconfigure itself. But when I started Ladies Up, it went through a process of practical, like really practical things, like how to grow a fucking mailing list and how to do this and how to do that. Because I know all the shit. I've been doing it for fucking years. Like I know how to do the strategy. And then I was like, I was doing the strategy and we were getting the results, but I was like, I don't feel fulfilled. This isn't what my soul wants me to do. This isn't like what I'm called to do. And then I really, really, really stepped in to the law of attraction and energy. I like for years, I was like, I was obsessed with like Oprah and Tony Robbins and the most successful people in the world. I'd like study them and like watch all their content and just figure out like why these people are doing so well versus people that aren't. And, Oprah's whole thing is being about in the present moment. And they're all spiritual. Like, and I'm exactly the same as them, but I repressed so much. I believe in a God, but I'm not really religious per se. Like I believe all religions were teachers on this planet once upon a time, and whatever you believe in, I believe if it makes you happy, I'm more than happy for you, and I've got nothing against it. But I'm very spiritual in the sense that I'm all like woo-woo and like signs and angel numbers and chakras and all that type of stuff. But that was kind of the missing link. It was the whole spirituality key. But when I went into coaching, it was like, oh no, people will judge you, because there's so many stories from the past where people told me like, if you believe in God, you're a fucking idiot. And here I am like, but Oprah and Tony Robbins have the same belief system as me, and I'm repressing it, but they're not repressing it. So I had to step into like talking a lot more about energy and law of attraction. And with that shift, that was like the massive shift of where it pretty much they had to fall off.
Yeah.
But the irony is a lot of it was my fear, because a lot of the people that were there already were actually very spiritual. I was just too scared to speak about it, and they were waiting for me. I always got goosebumps saying it. I was like, they were waiting for me to open up about that. They were literally waiting, and I was too scared. And the second I did, I was like, you always think like you're going to tell your friends something and they're going to judge you, and they don't, and they love you even more. And it's like, you kidding me? Like I've held up this secret for years and I just told you guys. And you didn't change, you didn't even flinch. You're just like, yeah, cool. And you're like, really?
That's usually how it is. Like, that's usually how it is. We build up this crazy scenario in our heads, make it like this huge mountain. And then usually if you say it or you do it, they're just like, there's not as much response. It's just like, okay. That's happened so many times with my clients, with me.
Amazing. Yeah, so let's wrap up. But I'm gonna ask you a few questions. I want to know like your top 3 tips for any woman in business, like just really ready to just quantum leap, like literally just quantum leap, go to the next level, embrace all that they are. What would you tell someone right now that's literally listening to this that just wants to know what they need to do, and without taking your power away? If you're listening to this right now, like you hold the power. This will hopefully guide you and open you up to more.
So number one thing, I love this so much, is what are you scared to do right now? Like, what is that thing that you're like afraid of doing? I've just found this happen so much in my life that when I do the thing that I'm scared to do, and this is an empowering type of fear. Like, for example, I'm like, okay, what am I scared to do in my business? It's invest in Facebook ads for me, for my clothing line. And I'm scared. And I was like, no, but I'm ready. I'm ready and I'm scared, but I'm ready. I'm like, but my business is ready to this point. I have enough people working for me. I have enough clothing. I could handle this. And I'm getting myself to there. So I did that. That was one of my fear to-do list. So make your fear to-do list and then start doing those things. Start taking actions on your fears and watch how much transformation you go through when you do these fears. It could be as little as, what am I afraid to do? It could be go bungee jumping. Like when you do these scary things, you just notice that like there's nothing a hold of you. There's nothing holding you back, and that they're just weird, silly fears. And it just gets easier and easier. So that would be my number one, is do a fear to-do list and start knocking off those fears and start doing them. And then let's see, number 2 was kind of like, well, I was going to say a different one, but let's do this one, is every day ask yourself, how can I be more myself? When you're responding to an email, when you're talking to a guy, when your crush is texting you and you're like, ask yourself, what would I do if I was more myself and I was confident? That's what it is. And then act like that. So every single day, ask yourself, what could I do if I was more confident and I was more myself? And then just keep doing that. And every day, your life will just be easier and more free and more fun. And then just number 3, these are things I do all the time, is just make it more fun and easy. Like, okay, I have this list of things to do, but I want to have some fun. What would be fun and easy to do today to make sales? And just do it. And maybe there's no sales, but just do that thing that comes to my mind. And sometimes I'll get ideas like a giveaway, or go to a networking event, or go talk to somebody, do a podcast, something that's fun that you like. And then usually those things that are fun, that you enjoy and that you're excited about, somehow something happens, some connection, some event. I don't know, you'll just be linked up with somebody or something, and that will escalate you through things and help you find clients and help you find sales and attract it.
And what's the best book you've ever read? Or if you don't read books, audio or documentary?
Okay, so I would say Pussy.
Oh, who's that by?
Mama Gina, I can't remember. I have it right there. I'll give you the link. Her name's Mama Gina. The name is Pussy, a reclamation. And I would tell every woman to read this book, because the word pussy is like this bad word, or you're a pussy, or you
I know,
know?
like even when you said that, I was like, I could feel a bit of tension. I was like, where the fuck is that coming from? Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Read that book.
What's it about?
So it's about a reclamation of pussy, of a feminine divine energy. You'll love it. It's just taking back that word. It's owning the parts of ourself. It's letting go. It's being more feminine. It's creating and establishing connection with women. And it's just really good. There's also a story in it. Mama Gina, I'll give it to you. I'll send you like the link. It's funny because once I read this book, I was like, oh, this is literally, I could have wrote something like this because I'm already like this, but it was like, this is where you are. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And I need to reread it because it like brings you back to your source, your energy, your divine power. And there's a lot of like feminine exercises and just a lot of good stuff. I would reread it with you. Like, it's so good. I need to connect to that again.
So good. Again, last question. So you have a megaphone and every single person in the entire world can hear you. What do you say?
This is a good one. Let me think. Everyone in the world. I'd probably talk about sex and shame. So I would just, what would I say? Matters how long I had, but I would probably
Like one, like a phrase, like a short phrase. Everyone in the world can hear you.
Dude, this is a hard one. Something probably along the lines like, be more yourself every day, and everything will fall into place. Something like that. Or
I love it. And where can all of our listeners find you?
all right, you guys, Sexy Biz Babe is on all the things. So if you just look up Sexy Biz Babe, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the things. So Instagram is definitely, I hang out there a lot. I've been getting on TikTok a lot, but there and Facebook. So Instagram and Facebook are my jam. I love it. It's fun.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, I've had so much fun chatting to you today. This has just been incredible. And yeah, everyone listening, definitely go and check her out. She also has an epic podcast as well. So you can go deep with her. And I'm so going to get a copy of that book. And yes, I'm also going to put her link to her Christmas sweaters in the show notes. So make sure that you send that through to me because I'm excited. Like Christmas is coming up and the weather over here like kind of sucks for hot sweaters at Christmas time because it's like really, really hot. But I still want to wear one and just like take a photo shoot. Just for the it's so much fun. And I don't mind turning the air conditioning on to be in a Christmas sweater. Let's face it.
And I have dresses and skirts, so you won't be too hot. So that's great. You'll actually be just fine. One crazy thing is actually Meghan Trainor bought 4 of my items.
Did she? Amazing.
Yeah. They're pretty cool.
Oh, it was so lovely speaking to you today. And yeah, we're going to have another epic combo sometime soon and go even deeper because I know today definitely wasn't even long enough. But thank you so much for your time, Tia. Keep shining your light. You're such an epic woman.
Oh, thank you.